Hello and welcome to liveconfident.com. And in today's live stream, I want to talk to you about confidence by the back door. So, there's lots of different ways of approaching confidence and building confidence. And I see it like a big jigsaw puzzle, a human jigsaw. And each piece of the jigsaw is a little piece of confidence. And I've talked about this in various different ways in different live streams. So you get confidence in one area of your life. Like, for instance, if there's something about your body or your face that you don't like and it's always draining your confidence, and you think, well, if I was to just fix that one thing, then everything would change. But it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. It helps. It's like putting one piece of the jigsaw in place. It might be a big piece of the jigsaw, but it doesn't magically fix everything. That's not to say that you shouldn't do it if there's something that you're able to fix. Something that's been causing you a loss of confidence, then do it. Go for it. For me, I've talked in the past about having something called blepharoplasty, which is surgery to my eyes. That was something that was draining my confidence. It cost a few £1,000s. It was a huge decision, and I went abroad to do it. And it didn't magically fix all my confidence, but it removed one barrier. It put one piece of the jigsaw in place, and it felt great afterwards. And I was able to build on that piece of the jigsaw, and it gave me strength to put other pieces of the jigsaw in place. But there's one type of confidence that most people overlook, and it's what I call confidence by the back door. And it's universal, this type of confidence, and you can recognize it in any situation, any scenario. You look at somebody that's anxious, somebody that's feeling defensive. What do you see about them? What do you notice first? It's the tension, isn't it? The muscles tense up. It's a physical lack of confidence. The body language is shouting out low confidence. Whether they're hunched over, they've got their arms crossing the body in a defensive gesture. Whether they're looking down and making themselves look small on a subconscious level. Let's say you're walking down the street and it's freezing cold or it's raining. You're tense, aren't you? And you're hunched over and you've got your jacket wrapped around you. You're tense. Let's say you're in a bar and there's a fight breaking out and you're anxious. And what do you feel? You feel tense. You're thinking, I might have to fight here. You're tensing up ready for it, or you're tensing up ready for the flight. How are you going to get out of that situation? And that fight-flight response happens in many different scenarios. And it doesn't just have to be about, physical confrontations. It's verbal confrontations. You get into an argument, you get tense. It's everywhere, tension. So tension is the embodiment of lack of confidence. So what is the opposite of the lack of confidence in this physical manifestation? Well, it's relaxation. So you relax your body and suddenly you're projecting confidence. You're feeling confident. When you're in a naturally confident situation, i.e. some situation where you're in control, you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about. Maybe you're at home playing a computer game, and it's a game that you know well, you know how to play, you're skillful at it. You're relaxed, you're not tense, you're relaxed. Maybe you're on stage giving a speech, but you know what you're talking about, you know your subject well, so you're more relaxed about it because you're not anxious that you're going to be challenged about something that you don't know the answer to, and you're going to be exposed as a fraud. It's the the imposter syndrome coming to the surface. So you know your stuff, so you're more relaxed about it. And in any scenario, it's the same. If you're feeling confident, then you're relaxed. And your body language is relaxed as well. Think about a celebrity that's getting interviewed. They've just done a film and now they're on the interview circuit. And you see them on the news or in some late night programme. And they're being asked about the film that they've been made, or they're being asked about something else, and they're either relaxed or they're tense. And you can see it, can't you? You can see it in their body language. And normally they're relaxed, but occasionally they'll be tense. But you can see the difference when somebody knows what they're talking about and they're on solid ground. They're not being challenged on something that they're not really familiar with. But maybe the interviewer will ask them something that they don't know much about, and the body language changes and the flow of their words changes. But in this scenario particularly, celebrities, they will rehearse a few anecdotes about the movie, let's say. So when they get asked about the movie, they have those anecdotes that they can bring out and they can tell to the interviewer and to the wider audience. And because they know that they have those anecdotes that they've been rehearsed, they're more confident and relaxed. They know they're not going to get caught out. And so they can be more relaxed and more chilled out about it. And so that's what confidence by the back door is all about. It's the relaxation of the body. So let's go back to one of the scenarios I talked about earlier. Walking down the street and it's freezing cold and it's raining. Your natural body language is to be tense and to hunch up against the cold, to try and keep the cold out. Tense your muscles and wrap yourself tighter against the rain. But have you ever tried relaxing your muscles in this scenario? Let's say it's cold and it's windy and you're tense against that and you're hunched up and you're trying to walk down the street against the blast of the cold wind. But next time you're in that situation, try relaxing all your muscles and just imagine the wind blowing through you, going straight through your body, not hitting you and then bouncing off, but just flowing straight through you. Work to relax your muscles. It's a conscious effort, so you're probably not going to do it the first time or the second time because it's a subconscious thing to tense up. So it feels counterintuitive to then go and relax because you're going against the nature of your subconscious. But do it anyway and feel the difference. You'll not feel so cold anymore. It's true, I do it all the time. When I'm in that situation, and I live in a country that's cold a lot of the time. So when, it's windy and it's cold, of course I have my coat on, but I relax my muscles and I imagine the wind just blowing straight through me. How about another scenario I mentioned, being in a bar, and maybe it's an intimidating atmosphere because a fight has broken out, and this is what it's like in when people are drinking. Sometimes people let their inner demons out and they're much closer to the surface and they're more relaxed about talking back to people. If somebody has said something that they've taken offence to, in normal situations they might hold that in and be more tense and guarded about the response in a civilised society. But when you drink, you relax. You're relaxing your mind and you're relaxing your body. And because you're more relaxed in your mind, you're more likely to respond to that, whatever it is that's triggered you. And that's what happens in these scenarios. You tend to get into more of a conflict because inhibitions have been lowered. People's minds are more relaxed and they feel more confident about their own abilities. It might be false confidence, but it's there anyway because they're relaxed. If you're drunk and you fall down, you're less likely to injure yourself because your muscles are relaxed. Fall down a flight of stairs when you're sober, you're going to get injured. Fall down a flight of stairs when you're drunk, chances are a lot higher that you're going to come out of it without injury because you're relaxed. Your muscles are relaxed. Even if when you're falling down those stairs you might be feeling tense or anxious, at a more subconscious level your muscles have been relaxed and you're going to come out of it with less injury. It is true, I've been there in my youthful past. I'm not plucking a scenario out of thin air here. I'm talking about an experience. But that's just one area of your life. And I'm talking about all areas of your life. Apply relaxation to any area where you naturally feel tense. You're in a social setting, at a party, at a wedding event, a reception. You're at a business networking event. You're anxious. You're worried. You're mind reading what other people are thinking about you, and you're tense. But when you switch to a relaxed body language, you can project confidence, project relaxation. You do things with your body language when you're relaxed that you don't when you're tense. You can stand on one leg, you can lean against the wall. These things your subconscious won't allow you to do when you're tense. When you're tense and anxious, you're close to the fight or flight setting in your mind. And when your mind wants to run away, or it wants to be prepared for running away, prepared for flight, it won't allow a relaxed body language. It needs to be in a more ready to run posture. But when you're leaned against a wall, or you're standing on one foot, you're relaxed, aren't you? And you're not in a fight-flight posture. And that is the difference between relaxed and being tense. At a subconscious level, you look at your own body language, or that of somebody that's relaxed in a social setting. If you see them relaxed and leaning, or their body language is relaxed, their shoulders are relaxed instead of being tense, you know that they're confident in their environment. But if they're talking confidently, but you can see the body language is tense, you know that they're playing that game of pretending to be confident, but they're not actually confident on the inside. And you can tell the difference, and at a subconscious level, so can everybody else. So how do you get to that state of confidence, that relaxation? Well, if you don't take actual steps to train the tension out of your muscles, then it's just a matter of remembering to relax your muscles when you remember to do so, when it consciously occurs to you to relax your muscles. Let's say you are in a social setting and suddenly it occurs to you that you're tense and you're anxious. It's come up into your conscious awareness that you're anxious and your body is tense. Now you can remind yourself that to overcome this, you need to relax your body language. If nothing else in that scenario changes, let's say you're anxious because you're not talking to anyone, you're standing alone and you're worried about that, what image that is projecting to other people. Maybe just changing to a relaxed body language doesn't change anything, but it does at a subconscious level, and you can build on that confidence. I've just been talking in the last 5 live streams about an approach and engage strategy, whereby you see somebody in a social setting and you want to talk to them, but the normal response in your mind is to visualize that scenario happening first, and then to play out all the different ways that that engagement could go wrong, to the point that you talk yourself out of actually doing it. So in that 5-point process that I talked through, the first step was to actually get moving towards that person before you've had a chance to start overthinking about it and get tense up and get anxious about the whole idea of talking to them. So you get moving within 5 seconds. You've got a 5-second window. You need to get moving within that 5-second window before you can start thinking about it. But at the same time, you need to be relaxed. You need to let yourself relax as you're approaching them. But it takes a conscious effort. So just like if you're a sloucher and you want to be a person that can walk with a good, confident, upright posture, to train the slouch out of yourself, which you may have been doing for 20 or 30 years, it's a conscious effort to remind yourself over and over again whenever you catch yourself doing it, and to correct your posture. And eventually you'll get there. It might take 2 years to do. And again, I'm talking from personal experience. I used to be a sloucher when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I'd always been told to correct my posture, to stand up straight, sit up straight, stop slouching. And eventually, at some point, I decided to actually do that. But it took a long time of reminding myself over and over again when I caught myself doing it, until I reached the point where the instruction sunk from the conscious level down into the subconscious, and the subconscious took over and started correcting my posture for me so that I was walking upright and straight. And it was the same with eye contact. In the beginning, I would hoover up the ground wherever I walked. But I had to train myself at that time. I didn't have any other techniques for doing this. So I trained myself to look up and straight forward as I was walking. Instead of always looking at the ground, whenever I caught myself doing it, I had to remind myself that I needed to look up. And it's the same with relaxing your muscles. Whenever you catch yourself tense in any scenario, anywhere, whether it's in the bar and you're feeling tense, remind yourself to relax. You're in a party, remind yourself to relax. When you're walking down the street and it's cold and you're tense, remind yourself to relax. And the relaxed muscles will not feel that cold so much. But of course there is other ways to train yourself to relax, or train the tension out of your muscles. And I'm going to finish by making a recommendation. It's a bit far out. It may be something that you never thought about doing before. But from quite an early age, I got into learning martial arts. I started with karate. But in those karate classes, I was never taught to relax. But later on, when I switched to Kung Fu, it was an automatic part of my training myself to relax. And of course, in a class, you're with other people, and there's exercises you do with other people to train the tension out of your muscles. Because you think about, we've talked about a scenario where you're in a bar and maybe a fight breaks out and you're anxious because you're thinking maybe the violence is going to spread and I'm going to get pulled into it, and you're tense and you're in the fight flight scenario now. Excuse me. So imagine it. You are now in that scenario. You've got an adversary in front of you. They want to fight you. What's the normal thing that a person in that scenario that's not confident in their own abilities to fight, and they're thinking, well, I'm going to get beat up here. It's just a case of how badly. And you're tense, aren't you? You're thinking about how you can get away. And the other person can see the tension. And if you make a move to punch, your body language gives the game away before you make the move and the other person can see it, because your muscles are tense and they'll twitch, and they'll see it in your body language, in your facial muscles. When you're tensed up, you give the game away before you make a move. But if your body language is relaxed, if your muscles, if there's no tension whatsoever in your muscles, then you can strike your opponent faster, and you can do so without giving any prior signal as to what you're going to do, because your muscles are relaxed and they're not going to twitch with the tension. When you strike, you tense up at the last possible moment before you strike. Now, I'm not intending to turn this into a training for how to defend yourself or fight, of course, but we're talking about the principle of relaxation, and this is what Kung Fu teaches you. In part, Kung Fu is a whole philosophy, but part of that philosophy is relaxation, and it all plays into the scenario of confidence. Confident that you can defend yourself, confident in your body language, which is relaxed, and you're not giving the game away. Poker players will know it. You'll know that you don't give the game away in your facial expressions or any other body language. They call it a tell, don't they? Other players are looking for the tell. In a fight scenario, your opponent will see your tell. They'll be able to see when you're about to make a move, because you're tense. But if you're relaxed, and this is why in Kung Fu they train the tension out of you. So my recommendation is, if you have a Kung Fu class in your area, go and apply for it. Go and train. And train the tension out. It's not something you can really 100% do by yourself. Although there are things that you can do by yourself. But go to a Kung Fu class first and learn how they train the tension out of you. The exercises that you do with somebody else to train the tension out of yourself. And there's ways of being able to do it by yourself too. So that is a little bit left field, but it is a recommendation from me. I don't know about other martial arts types. I mean, Krav Maga is a very popular martial art, popularised by movies like The Bourne Identity. If you've ever seen those films, he uses a fighting style called Krav Maga. But I don't know if they really focus so much on getting rid of the tension. That's more about an instant scenario where you defend yourself really quickly and you have to use whatever is in your environment and turn it into a weapon. That's more the focus of Krav Maga. So I don't know if they focus on the relaxation aspect. They didn't in the karate classes that I've ever taken. So I don't know if karate really focuses on relaxation, or boxing or other styles. But I do know it's a key focus in Kung Fu. So if you're thinking, oh, that's a great idea, let's find a martial arts class. Any martial arts class will do. No. If you want to do it for the relaxation aspect of it, go for Kung Fu. Or at the very least, ask when you go to a class and you're doing an induction perhaps, or you're talking to the teacher, ask them how relaxation plays into the whole philosophy of their martial arts style. Okay, well, that's it from me. I hope you take something from that, and that next time you're in a scenario where you feel intense, you remind yourself to relax, and you do it over and over again until it becomes a way of life. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there, and I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to say thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you again.